What's going on? We got a GM 3.8 liter, and it starts and will run, and you drive it down the road, and when it dies, you try to start it back. It will not start until you clear the codes, and when you clear the codes, it will start back and you can drive it again, which is a P0101 mass airflow circuit performance problem. And most people will go and change that mass airflow sensor, and it does not fix it. So if that has been your case, you want to continue to watch this video. But first off, I want to give you the backstory on this thing, on this car. It's actually, it doesn't matter if your motor is the 3.8 GM, whether it's Buick or GM or whatever. If you've got this 3.8, this code applies to you. But this is a 2004 Buick LeSabre 3.8 liter, and he took it. It died on him in a different town, not too far from here, and he had it towed to a shop, a repair shop, and they took it in. They diagnosed it. They gave him an estimate, and apparently it was like $3 grand. And he's like, well, I don't have that kind of money right now. And I didn't know any of this until day after. Any of this that I'm telling you, I didn't know till after. So I tell him, and he's like, I guess I'm assuming that they're like, well, I've got enough money to do this, but not the rest of it. So I guess we'll change whatever he told them to change, which turns out to be the water pump. I don't know, maybe the water pump was pouring out of onto the ground. The water coolant was pouring out onto the ground. I don't know. Maybe bearing was about to fall out of it. I don't really know. But it's a new water pump on it. So make the long story short, he gets the car back. He makes it a mile down the road and it dies. He has it towed back to the shop. And they're telling him, hey, we're gonna have to fix all this stuff. And as far as I'm assuming, the car does need valve cover gaskets and a few other things. You could see there's coolant down in here. I don't know if that's from where they changed the thermostat, but the car's got oil draining down the block from the valve covers leaking. It needs a serpentine belt. But apparently, whatever they're wanting to do to it, it's gonna be like another $2 grand. Because they charged him $817 to replace this water pump and do a radiator coolant flush and supposedly change this thermostat. But he gets the car back the first time. It dies, takes the car back to the shop, has it towed back. Then, next day, he goes and picks up the car. He makes it home. Well, apparently he was going to go do some laundry and some other things and blah, 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 to run some errands. And he makes it about a mile down the road from his house, and it dies on him again, and it will not start back. So that's when he calls me, and I did not know the whole deal. But he calls me and he's like, man, I need you to look at my car. I just spent money on it at the shop. And I told him, I said, man, if they've charged you all that money, you probably need to take it back to them and let them fix it. So he takes it back to them, and then once he gets the car there, I guess he goes to the bank or whatever and gets a loan and borrows the money and gets another like $2,300 or whatever. And then the next day he goes over there to give them the money to fix the rest of whatever is wrong with the car. Well, when he goes to hand him the money, the guy at the counter apparently goes to the back, talks to the manager or whatever, and then comes back out and says, man, I really think you should take that money and just go buy you another car and not fix that one. What? You just charged me $800 yesterday, and now today you're telling me just to take the car and get a different car. I just don't get it. So he tows the car to me. I bring it in here. It comes in on a tow truck. Obviously it won't start because they didn't clear the codes, because you got to clear the codes for it to start. It even says on the receipt that he brought me that we cleared the codes and it starts and runs fine. Apparently they didn't do any more checking on it and just went to replacing whatever on it. I don't know. But I backed the car into the garage because the tow truck put it in here. when they dropped it off, it was facing the road, so I pushed it in here backwards, and I run my code scan on it, and I got the P0101 mass airflow sensor circuit malfunction. So I hooked my code scanner up to it. I've got a launch, I think it's a 929 Bluetooth, might be a 919 Bluetooth, I'll check in a little bit. But I hooked it up to it, and that's the only code that was in it. So I go to my live data stream, and I'm looking at the mass airflow sensor after I clear the code, and it starts. So it looks fine. Mass airflow looks like it's working. So I got with a customer, and I said, I drove the car, of course, and it died on me. I took my scanner with me, thank goodness, and it died on me, and I reset the code. It would not start back until I reset that code. So I brought it back here. I called the customer, and I said, it's showing the mass airflow sensor, but me watching the data on my scanner, it's showing me that this mass airflow sensor is working, and that it's not going to work. It's not going to fix it if we replace it. He's like, well, I don't care. Let's just put one on it. So I said, okay. So we got one. I put it on it. I took it for a drive. Yes, this car stumped me for about 2 days. I took it for a drive. Same thing. It did not fix it. So then I'm thinking, wiring? Maybe PCM, the computer, is not getting the right information or sending the wrong information. So I started testing all this stuff, and everything seemed okay. So I got in touch with a buddy of mine who used to work for GM, and this was like 2 days later. He said, if I remember correctly, there was a service bulletin on this car that when you get that P0101, you need to check the MAP sensor, mass air pollutant sensor. So I was at work. When I got home from work, I come out here, I hooked my voltmeter up to this wire right here just to check it, and that MAP sensor was bad. It was stuck. The readings would not change whether it was running or not running. The reading would stay the same. I'm going to show you what it's supposed to do on my scanner screen. Alright, you can see up at the top left, we've got, it's a launch CRP919BT. The BT is Bluetooth. This is a great scanner. I'll leave links to it in the description. But you can scan your ECM codes, your ABS codes, transmission codes, body control module codes. It will even scan CD changers, radios. It is a fantastic scanner. I haven't found much it won't do, but I will leave links in the description to it. You can even program fobs and keys with this thing. So I'm going to hit Intelligent Diagnosis. It's going to connect to the computer. It's going to read the VIN. And this takes a little bit. It's like a minute. Alright, you can see on the left it is a 2004 Buick LeSabre with a 3.8 liter V6. We're going to hit Diagnostics. Now we're going to hit Health Report. And this takes a little bit depending on your vehicle. It doesn't take that long for this Buick LeSabre. But some of the newer vehicles where it has a lot to scan, sometimes it'll take it a little bit, especially like Nissan. You can see right there it showed our powertrain system. There's no codes. I might not let this finish scanning but in the video, but we can see right there that the powertrain is clear. Alright, once you are done with the health report, it's going to bring this up. Powertrain system, climate control system, dash integration module, driver door module, instrument panel cluster, instrument panel module, personalization, radio, rear integration module, remote function actuation, supplemental inflatable restraint, vehicle theft, and rear integration module. That's the stuff that it will test just on this 2004 Buick LeSabre. So right now we're going to click go back. We're going to hit system selection, and then we're going to hit powertrain system. It'll enter the system. Now we're going to hit data stream. Right side, the second one down, read data stream. And then we're going to display engine data display. Then we're going to click engine data 1. And then this will give you all of the things that it will check on this car. And the one we are looking for is MAP sensor. So come on down there, usually in alphabetical order, and there they are. There's two of them. One of them shows you the voltage, and the other one shows you something else. I can't remember, but I'm just going to click them both, and then we're going to click OK. I actually put the old sensor back on this car so I could show you what it did. All right, right here, okay, the top one is showing PSI. You can see that on the right. But the one you want to be concerned about is the voltage. That's at 0.503 right now, 0.555. Okay, now when I start the car, that voltage should change, but right now I can already tell you that that MAP sensor is bad. The vehicle is not running. So when the MAP sensor doesn't sense vacuum, and that's what the MAP sensor does, is it senses the vacuum to the engine. Well, when there's no vacuum, that voltage should be high. You should be up to almost 5 volts. It should be at least like 4.5, somewhere in there volts. It's not running, there's no vacuum. But then when you start the engine, it pulls a vacuum, and then the voltage should go down. So I'm going to start it. Clear that off. Now it is running, and there is no change. Even if I rev the engine. Now, this is a quick thing, so the way that works is when you push the gas, you lose your vacuum for just an instant, but then you get it back. So it'll be like a quick spike, and then the voltage will drop back down, is the way it should work. But we're going to do this one. I'm going to push the gas just a little bit, and then the voltage should increase, and then as soon as the engine planes out at that RPM, the voltage should drop back down, because you got your vacuum back. It didn't change. Let me do something right here. Let's go back. I want to add engine RPM so you can see that I'm giving it gas. Engine speed. MAP sensor should still be selected. Alright, now we've got our engine RPMs on there. See them at the top, 976, 990 RPMs. Now, when I give it gas, you see that voltage? It did not change. If I let off the gas, it does not change. If I give it more gas, that MAP sensor did not change. That MAP sensor is no good. It is no good. So now I'm going to hook the new one up, the new MAP sensor, and we'll come back to this and I will show you. The MAP sensor is right here. This is the old one. Just unplug it. It's supposed to have another tab right here on the side, and you have to push both of them over, but this one of them is broke off. Could probably buy that piece. I'll probably look into that and replace it. And then here's the new one. You just push it right down in that hole, connect the connector, and now let's go back to the scanner. All right, did you see that? You could probably see that voltage changed when I swapped that sensor. It went from 555 to probably 0, and then when I hooked the new one up with the engine not running, it's now at 4.651, and that's where it should be because the engine is not running. Now when I start the engine, that voltage should drop. We're pulling a vacuum, and then there we go. We're running about 900 RPMs, 950, 970, and our voltage is at 1.71. Now when I give it gas, like I said, it'll be quick, so you'll have to keep your eye on that. The voltage will increase because it loses vacuum when you give it gas, and then once it planes out to that RPM, you get your vacuum back, the voltage will drop back down. I'm going to give it gas now. Sometimes you have to be real snappy with it. Just see, I'm flooring it right there, and you're getting that spike. That's what you want. And that's what it should do. There is a second way that you can test that if you do not have a scanner, and I will show you that right now. Alright, got my voltmeter set up here. It's on DC voltage, and this the left wire and the far right wire is actually your input voltage to the sensor from the computer. You want to check that. It should be around 5 volts. You're going to put your ground in this side, and then you're going to plug your other lead in this side, and there is 5.02 volts. Now your output, which was what we were seeing on the scanner, is this center wire. You want to put it in there, and we've got 4.71 volts. That is the new sensor. So now let's unplug it, put the old sensor on, and we'll see what the voltage is. Alright, our old sensor is hooked up. Ground in. We're going to go ahead and check our reference voltage. Same voltage. Your output signal that we were seeing on the scanner, 0.515 volts. If you test that MAP sensor and it only shows 0.5 volts when it's not running, the MAP sensor is bad. It's that scanner I was using. But that is the fix for your P0101 mass airflow sensor code. That fixed this car. This car has been driven probably about a month now before I actually did the video on it. So it's fixed. But what I don't understand is why the shop didn't diagnose why it was dying before they just start throwing parts at it. I mean, they were probably, I don't even think they didn't mention a MAP sensor replacement. It was more valve covers, intake gaskets, water pump. They were going to do all this work. It was like $3 grand worth of work, and the car still would not have been fixed when they could have diagnosed it and checked it out why it was dying. I mean, yeah, the water pump could make it die. And also, I've done research on this. I was trying to figure out if somebody had another problem. I watched YouTube videos. They were like vacuum leaks, and they were like, check this, check that. None of it was showing go to the MAF sensor. So, as far as I know, this is the only video out there with the fix for this P0101 code. But guys, I hope this fixes your car. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if this video fixes your car, I want to know. I want to know in the comments. Leave me a comment. It fixed your car. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.